Hi guys, it's Kristen at Decorators Warehouse, and today I'm here to share with you one of the top trends for 2021, and that's a playful pastel gingerbread look. This is so fun, great for a kitchen, for a girl's room, for a living room, really anywhere in your home. But this is our 4-step process that I'm going to walk you through. We created this to really break it down into layers and make this attainable in your home as well. The process is going to stay the same, but can be adapted to any style, whether you prefer an elegant look, a rustic look, or a whimsical look. This can be adapted to that. The first step in our 4-step process today, it's going to be to create a beautiful tree topper. So we're going to be using these 4 pieces a little bit later on in our floral cluster, which you'll learn what that is. We incorporate those into the body of the tree, but this is also a great way to kind of pull that polished look into the top of your tree. So we'll be replicating this 2 times on our 7.5-foot tree. And I thought it'd be fun to add a little bit of height into this topper. So I'm actually gonna add this pink and mint spray as well. So let's go ahead and get started. We're gonna start with this fun pink Jingle Bell curly spray, and basically we're going to run the stem straight down along the pole of the tree right in the front. What we're doing on the front, we're going to replicate it again on the back side. Now if you have a 9-foot tree, you're going to want to replicate this probably 3 times, so 1 on each side. So that'll be there, and then I'm going to come in with 2 florals. And basically I'm going to cap them at the bottom of these sprays. So that's going to create a nice transition into the body of the tree. So again, my stems are always going to go straight, and then I can angle the pieces to get the look that I want. Be careful not to push through because you're going to end up with a droopy topper. So we rather go straight and then angle. And then I mentioned wanting to bring some height in too, so I'm just going to place this kind of behind what we have here already. Perfect. Now I'm going to replicate that on the back side. So this is a pretty simplistic topper that really anyone can do. The second step of our 4-step process is one of my favorite layers, the ribbon. And ribbon can be intimidating, but it definitely doesn't have to be. So let me share with you some of my tips for pairing ribbon. These are the 3 that I'm going to use in this tree design. And a lot of times I'll base the whole design around the ribbon. I'll find one that speaks to me and then kind of use that as a jump off point. But when I am pairing ribbon, basically I'm looking for kind of a bolder pattern to be our top layer. So that's going to be this one. And then the bottom layer, I usually look for something that's not real assuming. So this is kind of a repeating pattern with snowflakes. You might do a solid, you might do something that maybe just has a texture on it, or even a repeating pattern like a plaid for your bottom layer. So print on the top, repeating pattern on the bottom, and then for an accent, which I'll hold my accent until the end, it's just something to kind of add to the design and pop. So I've chosen this really cute kind of gingham gingerbread ribbon that I'll do at the end of this video. For a 7.5-foot tree, generally when I'm layering the ribbon, I'll use 2 to 3 10-yard bolts of ribbon. And then on a 9-foot tree, 3 to 4, and then maybe 5 to 6 on a 12-foot tree. These are 2.5-inch ribbons. This works because I'm going to layer them over each other, so I can kind of open them up, fan them out, so it has a little bit larger scale. I actually love 4-inch ribbons too on really any size tree. So you can use a mixture of the 2, or you can pair 2 like I'm gonna do right now. Okay, so I've got my 2 ribbons that I'm layering. I'm gonna kind of start right here at the base of my topper, and I'm gonna work in series of loops, and I'm gonna make a cut after every couple loops. So I'll start with the tail, and then I actually kind of like a 2-loop bow right here. Just creates a nice transition. So I'm making a loop, and I'm holding it, I'm gonna twist, bring that finger around. So what that's doing, it's bringing the pretty side back up to the top. And then I'm going to make another loop and a twist. So that's kind of ready to stick into the tree. I'm just going to hold it and use the greenery branches to secure it in place. I'm going to open that up, kind of fan it out. So it actually looks more like a 4-loop bow once we've layered them. Now I'm going to come in and I'm going to create, larger size loop and just tuck it in and wrap the greenery around it. And we don't want this too tight or too straight. So I'm gonna kind of pull it out a little bit. And I like that kind of nice curve there. Now, instead of starting my second loop directly below, I'm gonna kind of make a jog or pull it to the other side a little bit and do the same thing. And actually, you know, looking at that, I think I'm gonna add in another little decorative loop there. So what I'm doing, just kind of a little billow almost. Create a loop, do a twist, and then I can stick that piece in and wrap this around. See how fun that is? And now I'll start my second loop here. Once I've made a series of 2 larger loops, I'm gonna make a cut. And as I get closer to the bottom, at times I don't have enough space on the tree to make 2 continuous loops, so at times I might do just a smaller run there. So for my second run through the tree of ribbon, I'm gonna kind of start at our midpoint and offset a little bit. So I'm gonna come in right here and do the same thing. Okay, so I've pretty much gone around the tree, but what I want to share with you, when I look at this tree, I still have some like big pockets of space that I could bring a little color into with the ribbon, but aren't long enough for like a continuous loop. So one trick that I use, I really just like color there. That's the whole point of this. So I'm gonna create a tail. This is basically like a 1 loop bow, if you can even call it that. But a tail, a loop, and then I'm gonna do a twist. And then I'm gonna leave another tail, so I'll cut that there in just a minute. Basically, I'm just gonna kind of tuck this into that pocket to bring some color up into that part of the tree. And then I can come in and cut a fishtail, so I'll just fold that in half and do a cut like this. Okay, and I'm gonna work around the tree. If I see any other pockets like that, I'll go ahead and fill them in. Another thing that I can do is just a really basic tail. So this is really just 1 strip of ribbon with the fishtail on both ends and a pinch in the middle. And then I can tuck that kind of wherever I have spaces too as a filler. This has a little smaller footprint than the loop. Okay, so the third step of our 4-step process is gonna be our florals and spray layer. And we're gonna use a technique, you've probably heard me talk about it before, but it's called floral clustering. And so this is making larger chunks of florals and sprays to take up big spaces of your tree. Gives you a very designer, very polished look. So we'll be using 2 sprays and 2 florals for this one. And so really a cluster could be anywhere from 3 to 6 pieces in any combination of florals or sprays. So we're gonna start with the sprays, and we're gonna use this as a starting point, and basically we're gonna lay the other spray kind of underneath. So we wanna make sure it comes out on both sides. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna lay our florals on top. Again, we're gonna lay the stems kind of flat, and then you can angle your head out. And then you wanna come in with your other one, which is gonna be a little bit higher, and then it's gonna angle to the other direction. And so once you have your cluster the way that you like it, you take one of the stems and wrap it around all of the stems. So the great thing about this too is next year when I go to decorate my tree, I can pull it out and it's all one piece. So basically when I'm inserting these, I'm gonna fold this in half since it's so long. I don't want it to pop out the back side of my tree. So I'll just go ahead and fold that. So now I have the same thing, it's just shorter. So basically, I'm gonna find a chunk near the top, and then I'm gonna work these kind of in a zigzag formation. I am using 1 cluster per foot of tree. So on this 7.5 foot tree, I have about 7 clusters. And whenever you get into like a fuller tree or, you know, 12-foot tree, you really could go even more than 1 per foot. So I would even say maybe 18 to potentially 24 on a 12-foot tree if it's really big. So we're just gonna slide the stem along one of the branches, and then we're gonna use the branch to wrap around it to secure it in place. And then once it's placed, I'm gonna kind of come here and then down here and go all the way around the tree in that formation. Okay, once my clusters are placed, I'm gonna go ahead and come in with a single stem floral. I think this is adorable. It's kind of like a felt style, but I'm gonna place these kind of in between where my clusters are. So I'll go here and then probably here, and again work that zigzag formation through the tree. Okay, one of my other favorite parts is this part where I put in all my filler because this creates so much texture and so much fun in the tree. So I'm using 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 fillers, kind of 1 per foot. Again, is a good rule of thumb here, or you can always work in dozens as well. I'm going to start with this one. So it comes kind of flat, but this actually looks really cute if you twist it to make kind of like a curly Q. And then I'm just going to place these fillers kind of wherever I have holes. So maybe I'll start here and kind of open that up and then work all the way around, kind of in that zigzag formation again. I'm gonna get everything placed and then we'll move on to our 4th step. Okay, and the last step of our 4-step process is the ornament. So my tree's already really coming together, but this is the icing on the cake, the finishing touch. So I have a combination of different textures, different size balls, and then a few other shapes as well. So the bigger balls, we're gonna tuck these like deeper into the branches. That'll help conceal the pole. And then all the more specialized shapes, those can come further out on the outside of the tree. So let's go ahead and tuck all these in. Okay, the very last thing that we're gonna do is we are gonna come in with our accent ribbon. I just have 1 roll because we're just putting little pops here and there. But this is gonna go just kind of wherever we still have any like spaces, and there's a couple different things that we can do to fill those spaces. So we can do the bow tie, which that's kind of what we looked at earlier, where it's just 1 continuous piece of ribbon that's a tail and a tail. Or we can do the 1 loop bow. So leave a tail, a loop, you're gonna twist it, and then leave another loop. Or we can go a step further and we can do just kind of like a 2-loop bow and twist that and then leave a tail. So I'm just gonna kind of come in wherever I've got some spaces and just do 1 of those 3 fillers right now. Thank you so much for joining us. If you loved everything that you see here today, be sure to visit our website at www.decoratorswarehouse.com and purchase our Santa's Sweet Shop bundle. It's the entire package with everything that you see here. Just choose the size of your tree and have it shipped straight to your door. Thank you for joining us, and happy decorating.